Your vocal can be a little louder. What's going on? My name is Opan. Welcome to the studio, and I'm going to show you how I got this vocal uh, to be nice, compact, and loud. On top of this 2-track beat. I was going for early 2000s New York type sound, and I wanted a lot of body in this verse. So let's take a listen.
Melt it in your chest, baby, please say it. If you're feeling groovy, then move now. Welcome to the block, this is New York. Grab your lady hand, let's get down. Say it with me now. Just because our past done died away doesn't mean tomorrow's not a better day. Gotta grin, lips edge, eye to eye. Not a type of beer you can minimize. Every single morning kiss my wife in a mini-me. To see any hating me will be impossible, cause you can't take any measurement of spite out of me. Think I carry gold, have the enemy study me. Walking with the bounce, you can't take the ground from under me. Think I need a minute, reflect on my sentiment. And I'm intense, me looking straight, it's intimate. And it's my game, I'm winning, it's so evident. Was lost, recaptured my mind. I'm in my sense, spiritually, I'm so rich. I'm up on sense, now I'm on the road to glory. And I got evidence.
All right, so that's the song. So let's see how we can get that, how we got that vocal to be that loud. So starting off, obviously, with the beat like this as well, we're going to want to make sure that that beat is at an appropriate level. So we have the beat already gain staged. We got it at -6, and then volume at -1. And this song is obviously not, this is just the mixing. This isn't mastered yet. And we still even have to do some leveling on the master fader here to get it to a point that'll be good to send it to master. If you hear any crackling, that is because there is a vinyl plugin on here, which for some reason it does that. But anyway, so right here, what I got coming in first on this in Cakewalk here, the Pro Channel Strip allows you to have plugins before the FX chain. So if you notice here in the console view, you'll see my plugins are here, but I have a EQ hitting before these plugins. So we got an EQ first. So if you look at the EQ here, it's pretty simple. I'm just rolling off lows. I have I don't have a tight slope or too tight of a slope because I don't want to cause phasing issues. So I have the slope at 12 on this particular EQ. And I'm wanting a warm vocal, so I'm introducing some frequencies here at right under 500 hertz, and that could be a problem area, a boxy area, but I do want to introduce some of that lower breath and life into that vocal. Here's a listen.
Melt it in your chest, baby, please say it. If you're feeling groovy, then move now.
And then I'm introducing a little bit of highs here, right under 7,000, just a 0.8 little boost there to add some airiness on top of that vocal. I also have a compressor. I like to start off with 2 compressors. I got this tip from another YouTube channel. But this first compressor is just pretty much catching those peaks. If you notice here on the vocal, there is a lot of peaks on this vocal. And then you see the waveform here is smaller, and then you have some jumps here. Obviously, that's because I'm screaming.
Groovy, then move now.
Right? I'm saying ow. And then just as the vocal continues, it's just a very largely projected vocal.
Tomorrow's not a better day. Gotta grin, lips edge, eye to eye.
Right? Lips edge, eye to eye. Like there's a lot of projection. So I just kind of want to cut off the top of those. I just want to kind of snip the top of those waveforms, those transients there. So I have this compressor doing that just very slightly.
Tomorrow's not a better day. Gotta grin, lips edge, eye to eye. Not a type of beer you can minimize. Every single morning kiss my wife in a mini-me. To see any hating me will be impossible, cause you can't take any measurement of spot.
Right, so I have it just kind of trying to get those clips, and I have a slower attack, and let's even give it a faster release because I don't want it to do too much too soon. So I have that first compressor, and how I usually do it, which this is kind of backwards actually, but I'll just leave it like that. How I usually do it is I have this the other way around. I'll have the compressor introduce no. Well, let's just see how I have it here. I usually will have the compressor. I don't know why I did it this way. I usually have the compressor take off that top, the little tip of that transient, and then I won't introduce any more gain because I'm trying to use two compressors to do one job. So I'll do that, and then I'll introduce the second compressor, and then add that gain back. What you see there, if you can see here, we introduced 3 dBs of gain back into the vocal after taking that amount away. What we have next is this which at the time was a free plugin from Waves. Lil Tube, beautiful plugin to add warmth. Again, I want to get that New York sound, so I'm just adding some character into the vocal. And then we're coming into another compressor. Also trying to do moderate attack, have a pretty hard ratio because now I'm actually trying to compress the vocal a little bit more, and a moderately slow / fast release. So this is that.
Tomorrow's not a better day. Got a grin, lips edge, eye to eye. Not a type of spirit you can minimize. Every single morning, kiss my wife in a mini-me.
And what I'm doing is just allowing you to look at the meter, because obviously I didn't turn these plugins off beforehand. Now, usually you don't want a plugin to clip. You don't want the vocal to clip before coming into a plugin, but because I am driving this vocal, not everything has to be so regimented. So you will see that this is coming into this plugin pretty hard.
Tomorrow's not a better day. Got a grin, lips.
It's pretty much clipping, but it doesn't bother me too much. I don't care to fix it. And what I'm doing here is this is a triple D from Waves. Beautiful plugin, sleeper for sure. It's a de-esser across 3 different bands. You have your low end, your mid-range, and then your high, which is like where those S's usually sit. So deboxy, dehasher, de-esser. And this doesn't show you what frequency you're at, but it will show you a scale based on where you are here. At least I don't think that's the frequency. Yeah, there's no way that's the frequency. But it's like on a 0 to 100 scale. So if I just solo the sound.
Tomorrow's not a better.
Right here, that's bypass. Let's solo it.
Not a type of spirit you can minimize.
So that's kind of what I'm taking out, just the very low end of that vocal. And then I'm just dialing this.
Tomorrow's not a better day. Got a grin, lips edge.
And that's what I'm taking out. And then I have a little bit of harshness coming out as well.
Tomorrow's not a better day. Got a grin, lips edge, eye to eye. Not a type of spirit you can minimize. Every single morning.
Right, and have that coming out.
Tomorrow's not a better day. Got a grin, lips edge, eye to eye. Not a type of spirit you can minimize. Every single morning, kiss my wife in a mini-me to see any.
Now, with this plugin, you do have to be careful because you can take out too much and then kind of dig a hole in that vocal and make it hollow. So just be careful with this plugin in particular. But I think that sounds good.
Tomorrow's not a better day. Got a grin, lips edge, eye to eye.
And then for the de-esser, instead of using this one plugin to tackle all of those different areas, I don't always prefer the de-esser on this plugin. So if I do use a de-esser, I'll use either one earlier in the chain or a different one. I don't have a de-esser in this particular lineup. And that's another thing about mixing and engineering is you don't always have to use every single plugin that would seem common or normal. Starting with the EQ into a de-esser or a gate into an EQ into a de-esser into a compressor. Like, you don't always have to go with a particular traditional format. You tackle the problems as you hear them, and that way it's more natural and you're running off of instinct. You're running off how you feel and not off of a habit. And music is obviously, it gives a feeling. So we did the triple D, and then now this is the secret sauce right here. This is the secret plugin to kind of give me this. I mean, it's even labeled I Heart New York, to give me that kind of New York sound, that slap. And what this is it's basically a parallel compressor, and it adds its own, except for it adds like a little bit of saturation as well. You can do this same method by just creating a bus. These are my buses on this end here. This section here is the buses. You can create a bus and then have that be a compressor, and then just send your vocal to that bus, and kind of get the same effect. But I did it here with the New York compressor instead, this Baby Audio iHeart New York compressor, because I wanted the saturation I kind of wanted the distortion from using the spank knob here. So if we look a little closer at this plugin,
not a type of spirit you can minimize.
Right, and I have the spank coming here, and you
Tomorrow's
can
not a
really crank that and then cause distortion within the plugin.
Tomorrow's not a better day. Gotta grin, lips edge, eye to eye. Not a type of spirit you can minimize. Every single morning, kiss my wife in a mini-me.
That causes a really aggressive vocal. And then the parallel signal you can dial here with this this knob.
Tomorrow's not a better day. Gotta grin, lips edge, eye to eye. Not a type of spirit you can minimize. Every single morning.
Right, and really kind of dial that in. So I have that. I have that for the parallel compressor instead of sending it to a bus. I think that plugin is free, but if you don't have that plugin, obviously you can just do a bus and then kind of smack the compressor on the bus, and then send the vocal to the bus, and then just turn the fader down on that bus to have it come back up under that vocal. And then we're coming into this multi-band compressor, and now I'm just trying to kind of tame some of those other dynamic bands. So you see here within the plugin,
tomorrow's not a better day. Gotta grin, lips edge, eye to eye. Not a type of spirit you can minimize. Every single morning, kiss my wife in a mini-me.
So if you look at the meters, I'm kind of taming down some of those.
Tomorrow's not a better day.
Here in that range of 500 to 1K hertz, I'm kind of bringing that back down just to tame it, kind of compress it down.
Tomorrow's not a better day.
Some low end below that area.
Tomorrow's not a better day.
And then I have between this 2K to 4K.
Tomorrow's not a better day. Gotta grin.
And then some on the high end there. Just kind of compressing that.
Tomorrow's not a better day. Gotta grin.
And then I have it all ending up in this vinyl, which this vinyl is a tonal plugin, kind of adds some tone. Usually, obviously, this will be done a little earlier, kind of like along, kind of basically little tube is where I usually put vinyl after the compressors. But it adds tone, character, saturation to your vocal. I have it in mono mode because I want the vocal to kind of punch in the center. And I have a little bit of wear on it, some dust, and I have it at the 2000 setting, which is kind of the vibe I'm trying to go for. I don't toggle these based off of the era I want to be in, but they all have different sounds, and I kind of pick it based on that. It just so happened that 2000 was the sound that I wanted. That gives it a real nice warmth to the vocal, and then I'm ending the vocal with this Nova, which is just catching a little bit of those lows, rolling off a very slight amount, dipping out of that this range here right at about 200 with a kind of a wide Q, and then I'm using the dynamic EQ feature. So basically it's an EQ / compressor to catch this right at 5,000.
Tomorrow's not a better day. Gotta grin, lips edge, eye to eye.
And I'm just pulling that out. And then lastly, we do have a bus. So for the bus, we are sending this vocal to a verb. And this verb here, what it's doing is I have it, if you see here right under my camera, I'm rolling off a lot of the lows. I don't want to introduce any more lows. I don't want to cause the mix to be muddy. And I have some highs. I have a slower slope. If you see here, the slope is about 18 for the low. I'm cutting off those lows hard, and then but 12 for the highs, because I want to create a little bit more brightness for the verb. And then I'm using this plugin from UAD, which is like the most vintagey type of plugin that I have, a plate reverb, to kind of, again, emulate that sound from the early 2000s. And I have For the main verse, a lower reverb time, pretty much almost no pre-delay, cutting off as much as I can on the actual plugin itself. I'm going full wet for the reverb because it's a bus, so I can dial it in with the fader on the actual bus track. And those are the settings for the bass and the treble. And I'm also pushing this verb a little bit to the right. If you see there, let me see if I can show you here. If you see here, I'm pushing the plugin slightly to the right, and that's to kind of offset it from the verse, because this is the main verse, the reverb for the main verse. I'm offsetting it from that main verse because I want the verse to be dead in the center. I want the verse to hit hard. I want that compression to push that vocal right down the center. And then off to the right a little bit, that reverb comes in. And I think that's a good way to kind of let that vocal really punch through the mix and then spread out. It's spreading out to the right, but kind of spread out away from the vocal. So it almost as if the vocal's just a little dry. And again, there's no rules when it comes to mixing. You can do whatever you want. The vocal can be completely dry if you wanted it to, and that's not breaking any rules. So, and then I have just after the compressor, after the reverb, I have a compressor kind of just compacting it all together, boosting it pretty hard on the gain. Pretty long release, moderate attack, and this is the reverb soloed. And then with everything.
Every single morning, kiss my wife in a mini-me. To see any hating me will be impossible, cause you can't take any measurement of spite out of me.
Right, so that's that. Well, anyways, that is how I got that vocal to kind of punch, come in hard, and stick out at the top of that 2-track beat. There's other things you can do to get a vocal to pop out of a 2-track beat. I'll have a more specific video of that coming soon. But there is one on the channel if you search for it. Thanks so much for watching. Again, it's been me, Upfront, and catch you on the next one. Like, subscribe, all that jazz.